Welcome, everyone. Today we are learning about the zero conditional and how to talk about things that are always true in a fun grammar adventure. What is the zero conditional? We use zero conditional sentences to talk about things that are always true, such as facts, scientific truths, and everyday rules that never change. Things that are always true happen every single time, like the sun rising every morning. Scientific facts happen naturally, like water freezing when it gets cold enough. Everyday rules are things we know from daily life, like what happens when you drop something. Every conditional sentence has two parts, the if clause and the main clause. Part 1 is the if clause, which is the condition that happens first, starting with the word if, such as if it rains. Part 2 is the main clause, which is the result of what always happens because of the condition, such as the ground gets wet. Together, the two clauses make one complete zero conditional sentence. Here is example 1. To ask what happens when you turn on the light, the condition in the if clause is if you turn on the light. This tells us what action happens first. The result in the main clause is the room lights up. This is what always happens as a result, because the room always gets bright when you turn on the switch. So our full sentence is, if you turn on the light, the room lights up. Remember to use the simple present in both clauses. In zero conditional sentences, we use the simple present tense in both the if clause and the main clause to show that something is always true. In the if clause, we use the simple present verb heat, like in if you heat water. In the main clause, we use the simple present verb boils, like in it boils. Remember, do not use the past tense or the future tense in zero conditional sentences. Here is example 2. To ask what happens when you turn on the steam iron, the if clause in the simple present is if you turn on the steam iron. The main clause in the simple present is it gets hot. Putting them together, our full sentence is, if you turn on the steam iron, it gets hot. Which clause comes first? The two clauses can come in any order, but there is an important punctuation rule to remember. When the if clause comes first, use a comma, like in, if you drop a glass, it breaks. Notice the comma right after the if clause. When the main clause comes first, no comma is needed, like in, a glass breaks if you drop it. As a top tip, if you see the word if at the start of a sentence, look for the comma after the first clause. Here is example 3, showing the comma rule in action. Placing the if clause first, we add a comma and say, if you don't water flowers, they die. Placing the main clause first, we use no comma and say, flowers die if you don't water them. Both sentences mean the exact same thing, so only the word order and punctuation change. Look at example 4. What happens if you turn on the air conditioner? If you turn it on, the air becomes cool. The if clause condition is if you turn it on, with a comma at the end. The main clause result is the air becomes cool. Children, now it's your turn. Now it's time to practice. Look at each picture and the words given, and use them to write a correct zero conditional sentence. Remember the rules, simple present in both clauses, and use a comma if the if clause comes first. Look at question 1. What happens to the streets if it rains? Using the clue words if, rain, and become wet, our answer is the streets become wet if it rains, or if it rains, the streets become wet. Both verbs becomes and rains are in the simple present tense. Look at question 2. What happens to plants if they don't receive sunlight? Using the clue words if, do not receive sunlight, and die, our answer is plants die if they do not receive sunlight. Or if plants do not receive sunlight, they die. Both verbs are in the simple present tense. Look at question 3. What happens if you throw a tennis ball into the air? Using the clue words if, throw a tennis ball, and fall down, our answer is if you throw a tennis ball into the air, it falls down. Or a tennis ball falls down if you throw it into the air. Remember to check your comma when the if clause comes first. Look at question 4. What happens if you heat up ice? Using the clue words if, heat up ice, and melt, our answer is if you heat up ice, it melts, or ice melts if you heat it up. Both verbs heat and melts are in the simple present tense. Look at question 5. What happens if you drop glass cups? Using the clue words if, drop glass cups, and break, our answer is glass cups break if you drop them. Or if you drop glass cups, they break. No comma is needed when the main clause comes first. Look at question 6. What happens if you heat water? Using the clue words if, heat water, and boil, our answer is if you heat water, it boils, or water boils if you heat it. Both verbs, heat and boils, are in the simple present tense. Look at question 7. What happens if babies are hungry? Using the clue words if, babies, hungry, and cry, our answer is if babies are hungry, they cry. Or babies cry if they are hungry. Remember to include a comma after the if clause when it comes first. Well done, everyone. You have learned all about the zero conditional. Let's recap what we know. Rule 1, zero conditional is used for facts and things that are always true. Rule 2, use the simple present tense in both the if clause and the main clause. Rule 3, add a comma after the if clause when it comes first, and use no comma when the main clause comes first. Great work today, everyone.